I'm, of course, Simon, bringing you guys another little chat slash discussion that I hope we can kind of work on together as I walk down my predictions for adventures in the Forgotten Realms. In particular, what I think some famous and iconic monsters of Dungeons and Dragons they could bring over to Magic the Gathering. Mind Flayers. Oh, everyone's favorite psychic space squid face pirates slash Cthulhu ripoffs. Yes, yes, yes. These Mind Flayers are Cthulhu space pirates, right? They are an extraterrestrial force, a threat that look to conquer all domains of reality, all worlds, and bring them under their collective hive mind, essentially. They are superbly strong in psychotic attacks. They can control weaker minds with ease and bring them under their sway and basically make them willing thralls. Mind Flayers are by far the easiest to classify mana alignment wise because they are straight Dimir. They have to be black blue. It's the easiest thing in the world for a Mind Flayer to be, for what they do, all this kind of stuff. I cannot see these guys being anything less than Dimir. The squid-faced psychics use their psionic attacks to dominate the minds of others. It's their key characteristic and abilities in Dungeons and Dragons, and you always need to be aware of basically being mind controlled by Mind Flayers. It's right there in the name. You see them do it all the time, and they just recently in D&D, relatively recently, became a much bigger thing. They were kind of an obscure creature type for a long time. 5th edition for sure added a lot more to them. They've been kind of building up steam for a while now, so I really think that Mind Flayers are going to make an appearance in Adventures in the Forgotten Realms just because of how prevalent they are right now in a lot of people's campaigns and how they're used. Now, one card I think of when I think of the Mind Flayer and their abilities is anything that can trigger maybe a treason effect when it enters the battlefield. And I don't know if you guys remember, but back from Dark Ascension, there was a creature, I believe it was called Beguiler of Wills. I believe it was a 1/1 for 5 mana that you could tap and gain control of a target creature with power equal to or less than the number of creatures you control. So by herself, she's pretty weak. She can only control a creature with 1 power or less. But when you get control of that creature, you gain it permanently. And there you have 2 creatures on the board. So you can control a creature with 2 power or less. And so on and so forth. You can keep stealing things until you can have an endless army and your opponents are crying on the floor. I can see the Mind Flayer having a very similar type of ability because honestly, that is literally their mission statement, to subjugate the minds of everyone around them, everyone lesser than them. And believe me, most of the multiverse are going to have weaker minds than a Mind Flayer. Their intelligence is just off the charts. So what I'm thinking is Mind Flayers will have abilities to gain control of other target creatures. If it's permanent or not, that's up to the question. Mind Flayers typically in Dungeons and Dragons, if you fall under their sway, it is permanent. I think until you kill the Mind Flayer that controlled you, or your party kills them. So it's really going to be. It can go a bunch of different ways, but needless to say, there's no doubt in my mind that a Mind Flayer card printed for Magic the Gathering in Adventures in the Forgotten Realms is going to have some ability to steal your opponent's creatures. 100%. The amount of creatures and the size of the creature, that's going to be up for debate. But for sure, Dimir, gain control of target creatures. Mind Flayers are going to make an appearance in Adventures in Forgotten Realms. I promise you. Control the other player, William, you're mad. That is way OP. They control an entire turn? That would be insane. Will they mill or theft? Leaning more towards theft, but they could probably mill. Maybe they mill and steal a creature at the same time. Who knows?